Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Today I am showing you our curriculum picks for the 2025-2026 school year. Now my kids are in 8th grade and 11th grade this year. And the great thing about this stage of homeschooling is that they are old enough to give their input on the things that they want to learn and the materials that they'd like to use. So our curriculum picks are based on a combination of their input, what I think is important for them to learn, and also, since my son is in high school, college requirements. Now, this is what we're using for this school year. So this is the Bible curriculum that my daughter said that she would like to use this year. This is Foundations in Faith by Master Books. So this covers essential doctrines of the Christian faith, like salvation, the resurrection, the Trinity, regeneration, the fall of man. And in each lesson, there are questions for her to answer that just reinforce what she's learned. And sometimes there will be activities like fill in the blank or unscrambling the words, crossword puzzles, and sometimes there will be space for her to reflect on her own faith. This page gives you an idea of the questions that are asked at the end of each lesson. For algebra, she is using Matthew C. And she'll watch a video with the lesson that she's on, and also look at the instruction guide for examples of different lessons. And she also has manipulatives that she can use that help reinforce the concept. And here's an example of how to use the manipulatives. So here's that box with the algebra and decimal inserts. And that really helps her to see what she's learning, and it takes the concept out of the abstract and kind of puts it in the real world for her to understand. Now for language arts, she is using Sunlight's Level J program, which is the perfect bridge between middle school and high school. I'm going to show you some of the books that she is currently reading. I'm really excited about this level of literature because it has so many different exciting books like mystery and fantasy, and just books that I loved when I was a kid. So here are some of those books. She's reading The Weston Game, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, The Phantom Toll Booth, and The Giver. And what I really appreciate about this program is that it is so integrated with the literature. For example, her grammar lessons are all based on passages from the book she's reading. So this passage is from the Gamage Cup, and I will read that out loud to her, and then she'll copy it, and that just helps her write well. And then her grammar lesson is directly based on that passage. So she's going to look in the passage and see how many adjectives she can find, how many articles. I believe the next page has, yes, compound nouns. Her writing assignments are also based on the book she's reading. So she will write about, she'll write an analysis on, say, a character or the conflict or the plot of the book. She will also write a piece based on the author's example of, say, a personal narrative or a storytelling. So she might write a story that is, in the same kind of genre as the author has written, like fantasy or mystery. This is her history curriculum. She's using Generations Church History, and she was so excited for this particular curriculum. It's different from what she usually does. We usually do Sunlight's history, but we just wanted to switch things up this year. And she really liked the full color pages of this book and how it's broken up by different sections. It has scripture and pictures of real people and events that happened in church history. So this is the workbook that she's using with the curriculum, and she has questions to answer for each lesson, like timeline and location review, short answer, and then she will look at scripture and look up different Bible verses to answer the questions. And so this reinforces what she's learned. And at the end of each lesson, there are also prayer prompts. And lastly, for science, we are sticking with Sunlight this year, and she has picked Health and Human Anatomy, which is a brand new course that Sunlight just put out. It's ideal for middle schoolers. And so she's learning all about the human body and things like genes and DNA, and she is thrilled with it. So here are some of the books that she's using: Genes and DNA, and the Ultimate Bodypedia, Scene of the Crime, which is really, really interesting. It's all about how people throughout history have used different things. They've used different methods to solve crimes, and this is ultimately telling the history of how people were able to use DNA to solve crimes. So she is really, really loving this book. And here are the worksheets that go with each of her science lessons. She has room to fill in the blanks. Now, my son, who's a junior in high school this year, is also using a lot of curriculum from Sunlight. He is using the level 500 language arts/literature program, and this is world literature. When I asked him what kind of literature he'd like to study this year, and I gave him a choice of either British literature or world literature, he, without hesitation, said world literature, because last year when he took classical literature, there were so many books by British authors that he just had his fill of British lit. So he went with world literature this year. Now, all of the high school programs come with both a parent guide and a student guide. And the reason for the student guide is that they figure by this stage, high schoolers are able to do the work on their own. They can do their own independent studies. So the only difference between the parent guide and the student guide is that the parent guide will have the answers to all of the questions. And so each student guide comes with a schedule for the week and all of the assignments, and also comes with rubrics for all of the writing assignments, so that he knows exactly what to expect. And there are questions for each of the day's reading. This is some of the literature he's reading. Don Quixote, The Odyssey, Things Fall Apart, The Misanthrope and Tartuffe by Molière, Night, and Crime and Punishment. For math, my son is taking pre-calculus with Matthew C. And it's very similar to my daughter's course. He will watch a video at the beginning of each week as he starts a new lesson, and he'll do practice problems, and then he'll go on to the worksheets and take a lesson test at the end of each lesson. For science, he's taking physics from Apologia, and we've ordered this through Sunlight, and it comes with the science supplies that he needs for all of the experiments. So the great thing about ordering the math and science through Sunlight as well as the literature is that I can bundle those subjects together, and it's considered a grade package or an all subjects package. So this is his physics book. It's pretty straightforward, even for being a more complicated, challenging subject. It has real world examples, and he has on his own or on your own questions throughout the chapters so that he can practice what he's learned. And then they have experiments, just really detailed instructions for each experiment, and he writes those up in an app that we use called GoodNotes. Now, since he's taking world literature, I thought it would be great if he also took world history right along with it. And this course is also through Sunlight. And so these are the books that he's reading for world history: Streams of Civilization. And there are 2 volumes. Volume 1 covers creation through the Reformation. And then volume 2 picks up with the Reformation, what happens after the Protestant Reformation, through the current time period. So what I appreciate about this program is that it is from a Christian perspective, but it's pretty balanced in its approach to history and the different viewpoints that people have. It's also very readable. It's not like a dry, dusty history textbook. There are lots of pictures in it, and it's broken up into different sections. It has lots of maps, and overall, I think it gives teenagers a really good understanding of where we came from, where we started, and the different civilizations that have risen up throughout the ages. It also devotes sections to biblical history, and so they'll read about events that they read about in the Bible and see where they fit into world history. So his electives this year are Worldview Studies, which we ordered from Sunlight, and Introduction to Logic, which comes from Master Books. And his Worldview Studies course covers how to defend your Christian faith. It talks about how Christianity stacks up against other worldviews, and here are a couple of the books that he is using for the course. He is reading Total Truth by Nancy Pearcey, and this is a little bit more of a challenging read, but very worth it. And then he's also reading The Universe Next Door. Now, his Introduction to Logic course we got from Master Books, as I said before, because I felt like Sunlight didn't have as much of a robust program for that subject as I wanted for him. And here is the book that he is using. It has different logical fallacies and different types of arguments. It teaches all the basics of logic and how to make really good arguments, and also how to discern different arguments out there right now. So these are our 8th grade and 11th grade curriculum picks. If you'd like to see what our homeschool routine looks like, check this video out next. And thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are not just a mom.